You only got $50 a week to invest? Don't worry, you don't need thousands to build wealth. In fact, $50 may be just the beginning of the financial freedom that you have been dreaming about. If you've ever said to yourself, I don't make enough to invest, this video is for you. I'm breaking down exactly what I would do if I only had $50 a week or even $50 a paycheck or even $50 a month to start investing today. Simple, smart, and stress-free. Let's go. First, if you don't already have a 401k or 403b set up with your employer, please do that. I have discussed that in previous videos, so I'm not going to go over that here today. But let's look at one of the first options that you can set up separately from an employer retirement plan. You can set up a Roth IRA. And the Roth IRA, you qualify if as a single person you're making less than $161,000 for the year, or if you're a couple filing jointly, if you make less than $240,000 for the year. And you can invest into this Roth IRA, and this is tax-free money. The reason is because you are investing money, dollars that you've already paid taxes on. So when you're 59 and a half, or whenever you're ready to withdraw this money, start withdrawing it during your retirement, it will be tax-free. This is different from the traditional IRA, which I've also spoken about that in previous videos, where you pay taxes on it in retirement. So the beauty of the Roth IRA, you've already paid taxes on that money. That money is growing over time, and when you withdraw that money at 59 and a half or older, it is tax-free. So let's look at what $50 a week would look like. If you're investing $50 a week and you'd open up an IRA, a Roth IRA, in say Fidelity or Vanguard or Charles Schwab, one of those brokerages or any brokerage of your choice, it's low fees, it's very user friendly. And if you did $50 a week, that equals $2,600 for the year. Doesn't sound like much, but it does add up. So let's say you did this consistently for 15 years, earning, let's say, 8% annual return, which a lot of times it does better. But let's go with 8% a year annual return. That would be over $62,000 in 15 years. You do this for 20 years, it's over $100,000. So let me give you a tip. So if you're investing, start with something broad, low cost, like an ETF, an exchange traded fund. I'll attach a couple of videos in the description box below and at the end of this video going over some of this because I've explained it in previous videos. But an ETF like VTI, that's Vanguard's total stock market, or VOO, Vanguard's S&P 500, you're buying tiny pieces of a company all at once. Is low risk and you have high growth potential. And I'm not being paid by Vanguard, just even though I have mentioned it, and I usually mention it a lot of times. That's only because I use Vanguard. But you can use Fidelity, you can use Charles Schwab, or any other brokerage firm that you are already using or that you prefer. Let's look at a second thing that you can do with investing $50 a week, a month, or every 2 weeks, however you want to do it. You can purchase fractional shares, and there are a lot of investing apps where you can do this. And even with the same ones that I have mentioned, the same brokerage firms, but there's other apps that you can use like Robinhood. Again, I'm not being compensated or paid by any of these companies that I mentioned, but just to give you an idea, because these are just things that I use personally. And you're able to purchase fractional shares. So let's say you could even buy an ETF on a lot of these apps, but let's say there was a single stock that you were interested in. Even though I don't really recommend this much, I do have one or two single ones. Let's say you were interested in Amazon or Nvidia. You can purchase a fractional share because a lot of these shares are over $100. And suppose you don't have that initially to invest. You can purchase a fractional share for $1. $1 in a lot of these apps. So you could do that $50 and you are getting a little slice of that company, even with that $50. Or let's say you wanted to put $10. You're getting a piece of that company for $10. And as you consistently invest, it'll grow over time. Let me just give you a suggestion. You can create a simple starter portfolio with that $50 and make it a $50 split. So let me explain what I mean. You could take that $50 and take $25 and invest it into the ETF, like say VTI. You can take $15 and invest that into a dividend stock. This is one that pays you quarterly. Sometimes it's quarterly to get dividends off of it. Those stocks are like Johnson & Johnson or Coca-Cola. And then you could take that $10 and put that into one one of the individual stocks that you were interested in, doing that on one of the apps like Amazon or Nvidia, anything that you're interested in. This keeps it fun, it keeps it educational, and it keeps it powerful. And the reason why I say that is over time, the dividends, as you keep investing, will become passive income. So you'll be making money on that quarterly, and they literally pay you just to have the stock. Hey ladies, I'm Dion of Dee-Lightful Wealth Creation, and if you're new here, welcome. And thank you so much to my returning viewers for being here with us. On this channel, I help women over 40, over 50 who are not feeling financially stable right now. We talk about financial stability and ultimately achieving financial independence and freedom on this channel. I have shared that I have paid off over $60,000 in debt. I've made many, many mistakes along the way, and I am on my journey with you to establishing and achieving financial stability and ultimately financial independence. Thank you so much for joining, and let's continue. A third option to be able to manage that $50 easily would be to automate it and forget about it. Let time do the work. And what do I mean by that? You can start auto investing. So every payday, you can take that $50 to have it invested automatically. So this is called dollar cost averaging. So you're buying little by little, regardless of whether the market is doing well or if it's not doing well. When it's not doing well, look at it as getting these stocks on sale. And when it starts to do well, you've gained even more on your money. When you auto invest, you avoid trying to time the market. And over time, the highs and lows, they actually average out and your money still grows. So let me give you an example. Let's say you invest this $50 every week for about 10 years with an annual average return of 8%. That's $37,000. If you keep going and you do this for 20 years, that's nearly $120,000. And if you do it for 25 years, that's over $190,000 plus. All from just $50 a week. It's not magic, it is consistency. Here's a fourth option that you can do with that $50. If you don't have an emergency fund or a savings, you can create a high yield savings for emergency and for overflow. So if you're still building that emergency fund or you're nervous about getting into the stock market and investing right now, you can split it up. So you can take that, again, that same $50, put $25 into that Roth IRA or brokerage, and then take the other $25 and put that into a high yield savings account like Ally, SoFi, Capital One, even American Express. There's a lot of high yield savings accounts available out there. And a lot of them right now, they're not, some are paying 4%. A lot of them are about 3.6, 3.8%, but it is significantly better than putting your money into a savings account in a regular traditional savings account where you hardly make anything. This way, your money is still growing, both in the high yield savings and in the stock market, and you have some built-in safety there. A fifth option for this $50, and this is pretty important. A lot of people don't think about this, but this is investing in yourself or a micro side hustle. So let's get creative. What if you took that $50 per month and invested it in you? What do I mean by that? You can buy a course that teaches you how to freelance, how to write, how to bake, how to sell on Etsy, how to be an entrepreneur, how to create digital products, how to buy used items such as clothing and books and resell them. You can take that same $50 and you're investing it into yourself by gaining more knowledge and skills that will enable you to take that $50 and you turn it into not just hundreds, possibly thousands. Your knowledge can create income streams that stocks can't touch. So let's look at the sixth and final thing. As your debts shrink, because on this channel we talk about reducing our debt, cutting down expenses, and paying things off so that we'll have more money to be able to invest and grow. So right now you may not be able to invest more than $50, whether it's every week, bi-weekly, or once a month. Even if it's $25, that's perfectly fine. It's perfectly okay. Start right where you are. But as you begin to pay off credit cards, pay off loans, or reduce your monthly expenses, that frees up more money that you can now invest in yourself and your future. So what will happen over time is that as you free up more money, that $50 now becomes $75, then $100, then $200. And before you know it, you're building wealth faster than ever. So let's have a real talk about the power of compound interest. We talked earlier about dollar cost averaging, like consistently doing this for an extended period of time, for years. So the money will start to compound interest. So let's have some real talk about that. Let's say you're investing $50 a week and you started this at age 45. By 65, you would have invested 52,000, but with an 8% growth, 8% annual return, that's every year on this money from age 45 to 65, that'll be over $120,000. Now imagine as you continue to reduce your debt, you are now able to increase that $50 a week to $100 a week by age 50. That's over $220,000 by retirement with an 8% annual return. And here's the magic. You didn't work any harder. Your money was working for you. That's called compound interest. I'm just showing you the power of it. It's like planting a small tree. It starts small, but with time and care, it grows strong, tall, and becomes unstoppable. Listen, $50 a week may not sound like a lot, but it's more than most people ever start with, or if they even start at all. It's not about how much you start with, it is about being consistent. And remember, we talked about reducing our debt and expenses over time. So eventually you'll be able to invest more than that $50 per week, bi-weekly or monthly. You're not behind, you're just beginning, and beginning is extremely powerful. I've had to start my life over several times. I have shared on this channel that I've had to file bankruptcy. I made some horrible investments into some fake investments, which I didn't know about. I lost thousands. It threw me back. I've gotten into debt. I've paid debt off. And so I'm on this journey to financial stability with you. So whether it's $50 a week, $50 a month, doesn't matter. Invest it. Trust the process and keep showing up. Your future self will definitely thank you. So tell me, put in the comments below, what would you do with your $50 per week? Are you going to invest it in a Roth IRA? Are you going to build your emergency fund? Are you going to start purchasing stocks every week, whether it's an ETF or doing your individual? Or are you going to split and do a little bit for the emergency, a little bit into the stocks, purchase that one individual stock that you're interested in? What is your plan? I'd love to hear all about it and be able to cheer you on and encourage you in this community. If this video, if you found it helpful and educational and informative, please give it a thumbs up and definitely share and like and subscribe so that YouTube will now share this with other fabulous women like yourself who could benefit from this information. Until next time, take care.